Hi, I'm Taliya.
Hi, I'm Matthew, and we are the Critics.
The film on our review list today is the latest adaptation of Shakespeare's Macbeth, Matthew's people, Scottish people. Both of us really enjoyed the film.
Yes.
So let's get straight into it. From the opening scene, I was a bit confused. I felt like I hadn't studied hard enough at school because they seemed...
Broke out into a hot sweat.
Yeah. They seem to have added in Lady Macbeth and Macbeth having a child that had died.
Yeah.
But also, I felt that this explained so much. It was a great addition and it just developed their characters so much more. We were chatting earlier and we realized that, Lady Macbeth makes all these references to mother's milk, being a mother, nurturing, all of these things to sort of make Macbeth look like he's less of a man. And the addition of this issue of them having a child just tied that in perfectly.
Yeah.
Also, it explains how Macbeth looks at Banquo and Macduff in another way, because they have kids, they have issue, which was very important at that time. So that was a great addition. The second one that we thought of was the end.
Yeah.
Perfectly done, where they show Fleance, who is Banquo's son, and Malcolm, who's King Duncan's son. That was done so well, because now history will repeat itself. Obviously, they've opened up to that plot line, which we had never thought of before. I didn't, because in the play, it ends with Macbeth's death and his last soliloquy.
And even that, just in and of itself, was just...
It was epic.
It's really well done.
So we thought that their additions to the film showed us how, film can add to a story instead of take away from it or make it diluted. We thought that this developed the story very well.
I think it's important for there to be an addition to the Shakespeare, because we know the Shakespeare.
Yeah.
We know the gist of it. To add, to say this is my understanding without just adding an Oedipus complex to everybody is part of storytelling, is part of adapting. And I think also with the film, it was, the use of editing to have flashbacks, the use of dark and light, the use of sound or no sound, the ability to have his visions actually being real, which you can't do in a play, is important, because those are the tools that are available to filmmakers. That is why film is so popular and it's important to film as a medium, and I think we used exceptionally well in this instance.
So, as we said, it translates directly from the play. It was a perfect screen adaptation directly from the play.
We found a few things that were missing.
But overall, it was a really good adaptation.
Yeah.
Another thing I picked up, which was weird for us, because we did Macbeth in grade 10, I think.
Yes.
And we were sort of shown it in a strange way. We had our English teacher would play these tapes for us where they read the lines it was very camp and strange. But here, it was dark, gritty, bloody, vicious, life.
Horrific at times.
It was really, really dark, which was, I thought, refreshing. Really, a good take on it, because it is a really dark story.
Yeah.
There's supernatural things involved, hallucinations,
brutal killings,
revenge, all of those really dark plots. So it was nice to see it being told in a more realistic way.
Yeah. For me, the scene that stood out the most for that was when Macbeth is hallucinating at the banquet.
About seeing Banquo.
Because that whole scene really drives home. It's just a very awkward scene to watch. There's no music. It's very difficult to watch that scene, which would have been exactly how it would have been for anyone who wasn't Macbeth, especially Lady Macbeth, I think. And that drove home just something that you don't get, I think, from
just listening to it or just reading it.
Or just reading it. I think even just watching an ordinary play, because they wouldn't have had the ability to create that amount of silence and have that many people, and for you to see everyone's reaction to that.
King Duncan's murder was another scene that really affected me. When I first read it in the play, I expected it to be in a castle, stone walls. You can hear the echo of him screaming, or Macbeth stealthily moving around the castle. But here it was in a tent. They were living rough. It was dirty, gritty. It was a refreshing take on the whole thing. Yeah, definitely.
So the other thing that just sells this movie is that I think everybody's acting was amazingly on point. In terms of what you would expect from Shakespearean actors, in terms of what you would expect just from normal actors, in terms of acting within an epic movie, because there's the ability to be second fiddle to the scale of a movie this large. And I think that the characters were able to stand out, were able to stand above the story, were able to stand above the scale of the movie, which is a difficult task to do. So I think we had some amazing performances there. Obviously, Macbeth and Lady Macbeth's lack of Scottish accent, when compared to other casts who had very strong Scottish accents, you could argue being slightly off-putting, but I don't think you particularly notice it until maybe near the end, for me at least. And then the other thing is that it just visually, it was so beautiful. Apart from, I mean, the ending was just gorgeous in its horror. But I think the witches, all of their scenes were done beautifully. I think even when we got the landscape shots,
it was so nice.
It was, and there were times when you really got the loneliness of characters and things like that. You know, like that's how you do landscape. Oh, that's how you do scenery shots.
And all other adaptations of Macbeth I've seen, whether it was, you know, he's a chef trying to make it over his manager, or whether he's a World War I commander who's hungry for power, it's all been acting focused, not scenery. Not a good balance of acting and scenery.
Which is something that a film can bring, that a stage can't bring. So I think, excellent use there. I think, so we don't have any real problems with this movie. I think if you're not a Shakespearean fan, you will, because there are, and I think we realized this more with this movie, is that when done as close as this is to the original work, things happen very quickly overall, but each scene is very slow. And the words are very deliberate, and the performance is very deliberate. And that can be, I think, very unenjoyable for someone who doesn't appreciate or doesn't enjoy Shakespeare. If you're not a Shakespeare fan of the original work, not of modern remakes or remakes made for modern audiences, I don't think you're going to enjoy this movie. I don't think the visuals make up for the slowness of the scenes.
And the gravity of the film itself,
and for the fact that, you know, we go from ordinary Macbeth to a murdering Macbeth to a crazy Macbeth to a guy who dies at the end so quickly. You know, there isn't as much character development as we would ordinarily spend time working on. And he goes through a massive transformation without much time being given to that transformation. Which Shakespeare
didn't care about in most of his work. So it is like almost a direct adaptation. Although they, as you said, they left out some things like Lady Macbeth first trying to kill Duncan, etc. But it didn't draw away from the bigger...
From the bigger story. So if you're not a Shakespeare fan, I don't think you're going to enjoy it. I don't think that there's anything that you could go to that would outweigh the slowness that is often part of this movie and the difficulty that is inherently going to be listening to Shakespearean speak. You do have to concentrate a lot, and there's apart from the words and the acting, there's not a lot to keep you gripped in. So if you lose out on those, you've lost out in this movie.
So a definite watch for Shakespeare fans. Macbeth is my favorite Shakespeare personally, so it was amazing. Both of us enjoyed it.
So thumbs,
Great performances.
Just absolutely gorgeous. Made me rethink a play that I thought I knew.
Really good.
So, thank you very much. If you liked our video, please click like or subscribe to our channel to see more. All of our links to our Facebook, to our Twitter, to our Instagram are in the description box below. I'm Matthew.
I'm Taliya.
And this has been the Critics' Review of Macbeth.